Welcome back. Today I'm talking about Neopagan November Day 27, which is SHH It's Taboo, and Day 28, which is controversial. So, okay, taboo. So, I guess I'm going to be talking about death. So death is something that, in our culture anyway, is kind of taboo. It's not talked about a lot. It's something that is kind of steered away from. You don't really discuss it, stuff like that. But I've kind of always been fascinated by death. Not like the aspect of dying necessarily or anything like that, but like I remember when I was a kid, I found this book at school. And I couldn't read yet, but it was a book on Egyptian mummies. And there was lots of pictures. It was one of those where it was a book, but it was sort of like a magazine where there's lots of pictures and then like some words and then like blips in the corner, like what the picture's of and stuff like that. So there was lots of pictures in the book. And I remember just thinking it was so fascinating. It was just, I thought it was so cool. And I would read it in the corner of the library. And I remember like over by myself, and I remember one time a kid, like, I guess came up behind me and I didn't hear them because I was so fascinated by the book. And they were like, ew! Because they like looked over my shoulder and saw what I was reading. And I guess I think I got in trouble because I guess maybe I wasn't supposed to be looking at that book. Although nobody had actually told me that or anything, but I don't know. I guess they thought I was too young to be looking at it or something, but I always thought it was really cool. And so because of that book, for a while when I was young, I wanted to be an archaeologist and, discover mummies and artifacts and stuff like that. I thought that would be really cool. And then when I was in 7th or 8th grade, I discovered forensic anthropology, and that became my dream job. I really wanted to do that. And in high school, I became like obsessed with becoming a forensic anthropologist. I read a ton about it, and I was just like obsessed. I was looking into schools you could go to for it, for college, all kinds of stuff. And then when my chronic illnesses started getting worse, I kind of realized that wasn't going to actually be a possibility, unfortunately. And so I kind of had to let that go. But, but speaking of my chronic illnesses, they really have kind of made me more comfortable with the idea of my own death. At one point, everything was like really bad, and now it's gotten somewhat better, with treatment and stuff. But yeah, and so I know that when I die, I definitely don't want to be like buried in a casket. I think what I want to do is do the tree pod burials where there's like this pod and they like put your body in the pod, and then it's like a biodegradable pod, and they bury you, and then they like plant a tree on top of you. And so I think that would be really cool. For controversial, okay, this one definitely I think will be controversial, but I'm going to talk about the Fae. So I honestly don't really, I'm not 100% positive, but I'm honestly leaning toward I don't believe in the Fae. I think if they do exist at all, they're definitely not like little physical, human-like people with wings or whatever, like physical beings, I think they would be more like spirits, sort of like deities or spirits, like non-physical beings. And I don't think that if they did exist, I don't think that they can interact with the physical world because they don't have physical bodies. So, like, I don't think they could, like, leave you gifts or move your stuff around or any of that kind of stuff because they don't have a physical body to do so. But, like, I've heard people say things like, oh yeah, I left my ring or whatever on this table and now it's gone, so the Fae obviously took off with it. And honestly, I can't help but roll my eyes when I hear that. Like, I don't have a problem if you believe in the Fae, but I feel like, come on, really? I don't mean to be rude, but that's just honestly how I feel. I feel like, as with most things, it's, you need to look for the mundane answer first, and more almost certainly either you remember putting it there because you did at one point, or you meant to, or something, you're misremembering something, you've left it somewhere else, or someone else has moved it, like a family member, a pet. I know we have a cat that takes off with stuff all the time. Anything she can get in her mouth, she'll take off with it. So, like, and people will say, well, no, my cat doesn't do that. But it's like, well, maybe you just haven't seen them do it. I don't know. But I also hear people say that working with the Fae is dangerous, and, you have to do it a certain way, or something really, really bad could happen. You could be cursed, or, I don't know, something just absolutely horrible will happen. And I don't think that's true. I think that if the Fae do exist, again, they're like spiritual beings, and so it would be no different than working with really like deities or spirits. No more dangerous or anything than working with them. Sure, you would need to be cautious, but I don't think they would necessarily be more dangerous than any other spiritual being you would work with. I think fairies are I think they're fun to think about, to read stories about, stuff like that, and I loved drawing them as a kid. I thought that was a lot of fun. But as an adult, I don't really believe in mythical creatures like fairies and dragons and like shape-shifting vampires. I feel like that's kind of childish, honestly, but if you believe in that stuff, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't affect me in my practice. It's just not something I believe in, and yeah, okay, so that is probably controversial. All right, thank you for watching. Bye.